If you're watching this, ask yourself a question. When's the last time you genuinely tested yourself? When's the last time you genuinely felt challenged? Win or lose, you can be a hero if you just fight. Win or lose, you can be a hero if you make the brave decision. There are so many men of history we remember who didn't even win every time. Napoleon lost. He's still famous. His name's still etched into history. You can't escape the baselines of the universe. There are some laws which can't be broken. They can't be broken. They're universal laws. You need to have the bravery about you. I don't care what happens to me in this case or any other. I know I always made the brave choice. And I can sleep in a jail cell just fine knowing I chose the brave option. I don't know how most of you are going through life never choosing the brave option. And think, oh, but I'm just being safe. It's cope. Safety's for women and children. It's not for men. And you have to make a decision now as a man, knowing you're going to lose, knowing you don't stand a chance, whether you're going to get in there and fight or you're going to come up with a bunch of excuses why you won't. You're looking for a reason not to do it, and you found a reason because someone told you not to do it. If you're going to go through life looking for people to tell you not to do something, you're always going to find somebody. This isn't about what anyone else wants to do. It's about you. What's your excuse? Oh, I have work in a few days. I have a black eye. So you can go in there like a man. Why are you so scared of losing? What's the worst that's going to happen? You have a black eye, you'll heal. When's the last time you even pushed yourself to do anything? When's the last time you got punched in the face? I miss my black eyes. The people who didn't fight, I think, got beaten worse than the ones who did because they had to look in the mirror every single day for the next year or whatever it took for them to eventually come fight. They felt like cowards. There's nothing worse as a man than the feeling of cowardice. And the ones who fought went through the physical risk and went through the fear to make sure they didn't have to feel like a coward, because that's the worst thing a man can ever feel like. And if you're honest with yourself right now when you're watching this, a lot of you should feel like cowards. You weren't brave during COVID. You didn't get kicked off a flight. You wore your mask and you listened to your boss. You're scared of getting in a situation that you can't completely control. You don't challenge yourself. You don't test yourself. You go on the odd holiday, pretend you're rich and bang some girls, and you think that makes you a somebody. It doesn't make you a somebody. Nobody cares. You're still a loser. You're a loser. Because you've never been through the pain. All of the bad things that happen to you are the only things that are going to prevent you from being a loser. You need the difficulty. You need the suffering. I'm tired of people emailing me going, oh, this bad things happen to me. Good. That's why you get to be somebody who matters. All of the people whose lives go well all of the time aren't men. Men are the guys who stand up and say, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and I'm still alive. We're supposed to be broken. We're supposed to be imperfect. Femininity is perfection. Masculinity is being a damaged human who is still competent and capable. You can even apply this to the way men and women look. We want women to look perfect. If a man looks perfect, women find it repulsive. They find it feminine and gay. They want you to look broken. They want you to look like someone's tried to kill you. That's what they want you to look like. They've tried to kill this man. He's covered in scars and he's big and huge, and they've tried to kill him, but he is still alive. That's the entire point. Because what you're doing, you want to go on holidays, you want to do all this garbage so you feel a tinge of it. But when's the last time you sat down and thought, I have to make this work? I have to perform. I need every single ounce of my strength and my capability and my competence to get myself in a situation where I can pull this off. When's the last time you've done it? And you're going to probably realize, if you analyze hard enough, that you may not have done it your entire adult life. You've been avoiding these kind of situations because you're scared of the consequence. And one of the worst things about this new social media or generation, everything's on camera, everything ends up on the internet. People are scared of losing their reputation, scared of losing their egos. We didn't care. We turned up and we fought. We won, we lost, but we turned up and we fought like men. Nowadays you have people sitting there going, oh, I want to fight, but I want to win, and I want the video, and I don't want to look stupid, and their ego gets in the way, and it's their ego preventing them from growing. And then, heaven forbid, they make a little bit of money on a crypto pump. Then they have to go through life trying to pretend they're something they're not, because they have money now, and they want to pretend they're a G. Oh, well, I've got money and I've got this nice car. Nobody cares. Why would they? And it's really important what you said there about putting on a suit and putting on a cigar and renting a Lambo and driving around. All of those things, and I've said this a million times, you're trying to signal that you have money. You're trying to signal that you have wealth. But money is an amplifier. It's not going to change who you are. It's only going to amplify who you are. And if you're the kind of person who will turn up to a random sports hall and fight somebody who you don't know who they are and get in there and do your absolute best to destroy that man, and if you're the kind of person who will go then on to the UFC or go on to be a kickboxing world champion because you don't give up and you keep training, and then you get rich, you have a different aura about you than the person who skips all that part and wants to look like a G. So they get the Lambo and they get the cigar and they get the suit, but they skip all the hardship. And you know what? Predators and women have this amazing sense. I'll tell you something. You may be able to fool a bunch of geeks. You may be able to fool a bunch of geeks with your suit and your cigar standing around, but unless you've been through some difficult things, the men who have been through difficult things and women will smell it on you. And they'll just look at you and go, he's a poser. He's fake. And the worst thing you can do is signal to be something you're not when you're not really about it. You don't want to talk gangster. You don't want to be gangster. You don't want to pretend to be something you're not. You don't want to pretend to be wealthy and pretend to be a G, because eventually someone's going to check you. And if you're not really about it, you're going to then get either hurt, or you're going to cower, or your reputation is going to crumble. You can only fake and lie for so long. God is going to reveal the truth of us all. And the truth about you should be that you're a brave person. Money is easy, but to truly test yourself so the money has value, that's the important part, because being rich is great. But being rich without all the other accolades, without the bravery, without the struggle, without the fact that you're not afraid of anybody, without all the hard things you've been through, without all the difficulty, money alone isn't interesting. In fact, it just makes you a coward and it makes you a target. That's all it does. It's amazing how a loss can be transformative, and how the bad things that happen to us, like I've said endless times, are the most powerful building blocks that you're going to require to be a man of substance. And the bottom line of humanity, especially amongst men in masculinity, has always been the ability to protect. That's the bottom line of masculinity. It doesn't matter what you have if you can't protect those you care about and those you love. And if you're not prepared to stand up and say, no, that's enough, we're going to have a physical confrontation here, then you're not really going to be a man. And that is one of the most important tenets of masculinity, like I said, that predators and especially other women can sense. Because I think that's the true masculine frame, right? You're going to feel happy inside yourself when people change their lives for the better because of you. That's why a man wants to give nice presents to his girlfriend. That's why a man wants to take care of the people he cares about. You want people to feel better because of you. That's your goal in life. And that's when other people respect you, you're going to respect yourself. You'd have to be delusional to respect yourself if nobody else respects you. My intention is for you to become a better, stronger, richer, braver version of yourself. But unless you have that baseline bravery and that baseline build of, I've been through difficult things, I'm the kind of person who's not afraid, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You're still going to feel bad inside. You're never going to feel truly happy in your heart unless you challenge yourself. And anyone who didn't fight was very upset with themselves, because you talk about feedback and that's how it should work. All of the men who didn't fight felt a temporary relief, and you can apply this to life. They were offered a difficult challenge. They knew that bad things could happen. They were scared. They were offered the opportunity to pussy out, and they did. And they felt a temporary relief, maybe for a few hours or a day or so. They're like, thank God I don't have to do that. But as the days went on afterwards, as I saw the other people proud of their black eyes and proud of their blood, and them going home and telling their girlfriends, yeah, I got my ass kicked, I got in there, I told him fuck off, and I'm going to fight him anyway, I was brave. And over time, they started to realize what an opportunity they missed, and they started to feel like cowards. Living as a coward is detrimental to the soul. It's actually amazing. You can apply this to so many things. I've had guys come to me and say, oh, I really want this girl back, and I'm really upset, and then she wants me to change and do this, da-da-da. I'm like, bro, obviously, we all understand what love is, and we all understand what we're supposed to do for a woman we truly care about. But if you completely cuck and completely simp to this woman, you're going to feel dirty inside forever. You're going to feel dirty inside forever. There are limits you can go to where it's just too far. You have to still be a man. Because if you're not still a man at the baseline, money ain't going to hide it. Nothing's going to hide it. Besides, when you look in the mirror at night knowing that you are not proud of yourself, that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Imagine how different you at home would be if you actually went through some challenges in your life for once in a while. And I don't think many men at home understand that when you look at life trying to find challenges you can overcome as opposed to find comfort, you're happier anyway. I am so glad I went to jail. I'm truly glad I got that experience. It was an unexplored area of the map, and I got to go and experience it. It was hard. I've talked about how it's hard. It's a boring story to talk about again. However, I'm glad I got to do it, because I know I'm a better person now that I've been through it, and I know that I could deal with it better than I could have before. And what's the point in being a man if you're not going to constantly try and upgrade yourself? And you have to ask yourself this question at home. If you don't have a group of men around you which are going to force you or push you to do things you would never normally do, and encourage you to go over the top and charge at the gunfire so you can be the best version of yourself, when are you even testing yourself in your day-to-day life? You're going to work, you're doing your job, you're sitting with your girl, you're playing video games. Where's your challenges? Where's your test? How are you going to ever improve as a person if the most you do perhaps is sometimes go to the gym and follow a workout routine? There's no challenge, there's no fear, there's no consequence, there's nothing. You're never going to be at the upper echelon of masculinity unless you've been through difficult and hard things. The world, and I've talked about this at length on lots of podcasts, the world is trying to breed bravery out of men on purpose. They don't want you to be brave because it is the bravery that's going to allow you to resist their enslavement. Anybody who's watching these videos and doesn't feel like they should have been there, you're the exact kind of person the Matrix wants you to be. You're the kind of person who's going to sit there and go, oh, well, it looks difficult. I have to do things. I have to push myself. I have to challenge myself. I've got other stuff to do. My girlfriend will get mad at me if I go away to this fight. And then you're going to sit there and be a coward. And when the enslavement comes, or the climate agenda or whatever garbage they come up with to lock you in your house happens, you're going to sit there and make the coward's choice. And it's going to be left with the brave men to finally fight against the narratives and break the Matrix and free you and your family from your house, because you're not going to do it. If I was at home, I would be furious that I missed out. I'd be furious that I couldn't have been there and had a chance to prove myself, not only to myself, but to God, to look in the mirror and say, yes, I am the man I say I am. Because those are the most beautiful experiences in life. I said this to Tristan in jail. You don't get to become the most famous man in the world saying you're the top G and then get thrown in a dungeon and piss your panties. God won't allow that. God's testing me to see if I am the man I said I am. So now I get to prove it to him and to myself. And I performed flawlessly because I made the brave choice. I could have sat there and cried my eyes out. I could have done a Jordan Peterson and ended up on psychiatric meds. I could have took sleeping pills. I could have done a bunch of stupid things. I didn't do any of it because my entire life was built around constantly making the brave choice. And if you're at home, you're not making any brave choices. Life is designed so that you don't have to ever step outside of your comfort zone. You get to play video games, eat takeaway food, work your job, barely pay your bills, and that's your life. But you should be looking in the mirror knowing there's more to life than that. And if you actually truthfully analyze and understand, when I ask you if there's more to life, you may give me a few answers like you want a nicer car and you want to make some money, you want a Lambo, you want to travel the world, all these things. That's all superficial. That gets boring very quickly. There's a reason all these people who have money end up on drugs and a bunch of other garbage because they're not happy in their hearts. I don't need drugs. Why would I need money? Why would I need drugs when I know who I am as a man? That's what gives me true satisfaction. No drug's ever going to replace that. No drug's ever going to make me feel like I know I've challenged myself and pushed myself to the best of my ability. And if you're not out there doing that, you're never going to be happy, whether you have money or not. If you have to tell me the last time you truly challenged yourself, if we met and sat down and you would say, oh, Andrew, hi, I watch emergency meetings. And I would say, when's the last time you truly challenged yourself? Your story would be laughable. You would be a joke. Nobody would be impressed by it. And what is the point in the masculine experience unless you're prepared to suffer? There's no point in it at all. And if I think it's the masculine experience, it's always been that way. Men have always gone away to war or tried to discover new lands or traverse Antarctica. And that degree of masculinity has been bred out of men today. And you're trying to live safely and you're living for safety. And that is a feminine trait in and of itself. So bravery is extremely important. You should know you need it. It's almost like the Matrix where they say the minds that want to be free know something is wrong and they're searching for it. The truly hard part is when you have to look in the mirror and look yourself in the eyes and say, am I man enough to do this? And if you can get that part of life done, you'll be amazed how easy most other challenges become. Because I'll say right now, I was far more afraid of many of my fights I've had than I ever will be of going back to jail. Genuinely. Oh, I get a bed? Okay, give me a bed and some food. And no one's going to mess with me in there because they know I will fight. Everyone wants to fight the guy who won't fight. They know I will. So I'll be completely fine. I don't care. It's a cheat code to life if you challenge yourself often enough and early enough and you get in the habit of always making the brave choice. It's a cheat code to life. A lot of people have been following my brand for a long time. When I bought Bitcoin at $3,000, when all these decisions I made, people said, how did you know? It's not about knowing. It's about making the bravest possible choice. It's not about knowing anything. It was like, there's two options here. One is be a coward like everybody else. And the other one's be brave unlike everybody else. I'm going to choose to be brave and I will suffer the consequences. I could have lost all my money. I could have got sick and died in a hospital bed. But I decided to make the brave choice always because it's my default programming. It's actually not difficult to be in the highest echelon of masculinity today because every single man is going through life trying to choose safe options and be afraid. And you know I'm right because you're trying to dip your toe in danger. You're trying to dip your toe in danger, but truthfully, you've never really put it on the line. You want to dip your toe and then go home to your nice little comfy life. And that's why history's not going to remember you. You're not going to have a name that anybody's going to repeat after you are dead. If people talk about your death at all, because you had a chance to push yourself to be the kind of person who can come home with a story that they never thought they'd have. Go away to war and come back with scars. Women would smell it on you. The men around you would smell it on you. You'd feel different in your heart. You live inside your mind, you live inside your soul. If you don't feel good inside yourself, you're never going to feel good with anything external. And you're only going to feel good inside yourself if you push yourself and if you challenge yourself and if you go through difficult things. The number one problem I now currently have in my life is that I don't feel like I have enough difficulty. So I thank the Matrix very much for this attack. Genuinely. Otherwise, it would just be hedonism and enjoying completing the game of life. I have all the money, all the women, all the children, etc. I'm glad they've come for me so I get to start again. And I hope it never ends. I hope when this war ends, a new war comes. Because there's only war that's going to keep you sharp. Because you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you start spending time with brave people, you might become a brave person. And the truth is, genuinely, most of you at home are cowards. And that's how the universe works in general. You're going to have to get up and you're going to have to challenge yourself because there are so many people at home doing exactly what you do. How do you ever expect to be an exceptional person? There's so many people living versions of your life. There are far less people living versions of our life, which is why we are who we are and is why you're watching. There are so many people who just go to work, avoid challenges, bang their girlfriend, play video games. May play a different game, may have a different girlfriend, may have a different job. But the version of reality is too similar for you to ever become an exceptional person. You cannot excel because the version of reality you're living is too similar to so many millions of other people. There has to be a point where you eventually bite the bullet, and the best way you're going to do that is via brotherhood. Men have always done that via brotherhood, via the army they're in, via the gang they hang around with, via their tribe. It's always having men around you who are brave that is going to make you brave. And we can apply that, and I've done it many times, to the oncoming enslavement of man, how you need to have as much money as possible, and you need to have a strong network. You need to have brothers you can rely on. You need to be the person who stands up knowing that people are also going to stand up and help you. That is the point of brotherhood. Whether you get thrown into jail, whether they lock you in your house, whether you run out of money, no matter what it is, you need to have men who are not cowards next to you because a lot of you are cowards, which means you hang around with cowards. And that means that your friends aren't even loyal to you because loyalty means nothing without bravery. Because as soon as things get hard, all of your friends are going to piss their little panties. It doesn't mean anything. You could be walking down the street with your best friend who calls himself loyal to you. And if me and Luke turn up to decide to kick the shit out of both of you, he will run away. He can't be loyal because he has no bravery. And why would you have brave friends if you're not brave yourself? I don't hang around with cowards. Cowards roll with cowards and brave men roll with brave men. And if you're not waking up thinking, I need a fraternity of men who are not afraid. In the oncoming enslavement of man, with the war which is coming for us all, I don't want to be afraid anymore. I'm going to test myself. I'm going to be the best version of myself. And I need men who feel the same beside me. If you don't have that intrinsically inside of you, then you're a broken person and you're born to lose.